it's alright to cry. Keep your eyes on the prize. Now is a moment for shining on. The world needs our light more than ever. Now is a moment for singing out loud. It's alright to cry. Keep your eyes on the prize. Now is a moment for singing out loud. The world needs our songs more than ever. Now is a moment to let fear go. It's alright to cry. Keep your eyes on the prize. Now is a moment to let fear go. The world needs our courage more than ever. They need us to shine. We all need us to shine. Now is a moment for kindness. It's alright to cry. Keep your eyes on the prize. Now is a moment for kindness. The world needs our warmth more than ever. Now is a moment for holding on. It's alright to cry. Keep your eyes on the prize. Now is a moment for holding on. The world needs our strength more than ever. Now is a moment for sharing. It's alright to cry. Keep your eyes on the prize. Now is a moment for sharing. The world needs our gifts more than ever. Need us to shine, shine. All need us to shine. Now is a moment for dreaming. It's alright to cry. Keep your eyes on the prize. Now is a moment for dreaming. The world needs our dreams more than ever. Now is a moment for speaking up. It's alright to cry. Keep your eyes on the prize. Now is a moment for speaking up. The world needs our voice more than ever. They need us to shine. We all need us to shine. Now is a moment for taking a breath. It's alright to cry. Keep your eyes on the prize. Now is a moment for taking a breath. The world needs our peace more than ever. Now is a moment for dancing. It's alright to cry. Keep your eyes on the prize. Now is a moment for dancing. The world needs our joy more than ever. Now is a moment for open hearts. It's alright to cry. Keep your eyes on the prize. Now is a moment for joining hands. The world needs our love. love more than ever. The whole world needs our love more than
The really wonderful Lea Morris, once again, speaking to the moment, written just right exactly after the election this fall. And you will have noticed, I love, the song is by Lea and Carol and Linda and Karen and Vanessa and Linda and Carl and Deborah and Kathy and Elliot and Lucy and Linley and Elizabeth and Surya and Mel and Kimberly and Nan and Deborah and Katie and Ty and Daniel and Demian. As Daryl Grigsby wrote in the Union on behalf of Color Me Human, do not work for change alone. Be part of a movement. And I love that Lea has that inviting sense in so many of her musical endeavors that we get to benefit from, including that whole group of people who contributed to creating that song in a moment when they needed the song, right? And then it becomes a gift to us. In our Unitarian Universalist tradition, we do not have a single text from which we draw. Sometimes, a tradition has the Quran or the Bible or a very specific text. In our tradition, we draw wisdom from wherever we can find it. And this morning, Leah's song is one of our sacred texts. Right? Now is the moment for the world needs our more than ever. True? True. And also our other text this morning are the words and the wisdom of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in anticipation of tomorrow. So with that, I'll name that I'm the Reverend Kevin Tarsa. If we haven't met, I'm really glad you're here. And even if we have met, I'm glad you're here in the room and on Zoom and later. Our joys and sorrows, we have a weekly ritual of placing stones in a bowl of water to honor the joys and sorrows we carry, and often that's included within the service. Today we have a different ritual. So the table with the bowl and the stones is at the entrance, and Carol Grant is our lay pastoral care team member here today hosting. So anytime, before, after, during the service, feel free to take what's really prominent in your heart and let it be represented by one of those stones and place it in the bowl of water so you know you're not alone, that we're in this together. And finally, here's my reminder to turn my cell phone to silent or off. I invite you to do the same. If you're not sure, I invite you to check. And with that, I'll invite us to greet each other with this caveat: to be sensitive to the other person and how you think they might want to be greeted. Look for clues, right? Some people are exuberant and ready, and some people a little more reticent. I invite you to greet each other, say hello. If you're here for the first time or the 100th time, to greet each other well and warmly and sensitively. With that, please say hello. Thank you. I love the energy of that. Carl offers our land acknowledgement this morning. Oh, Jeff offers our land acknowledgement this morning. Sorry.
These acorns remind us that we meet here on Nisenan land, that the history of this land and its peoples continues to shape this community, that we support the Nevada City Rancheria Nisenan tribe in efforts to stabilize their people and to restore tribal sovereignty through federal recognition, and that our own deepest well-being is bound to the tribe's well-being.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff Gold is a member of the Board of Trustees of this congregation. Thank you. I'm about to invite you into some movement to accompany our chalice lighting. The chalice is a symbol of this tradition, this chalice with the flame in it. And knowing that we're shoulder to shoulder, the movements are near in and in front and above you, so we can be kind to each other. It begins with, and Katie's not here today, Allison, she couldn't be, So it begins with maybe namaste, but very certainly to make a sphere in front of you. Kind of make a sphere, and then keep going to cross your hands over your heart. So that's the first movement, a sphere, keep going into hands over the heart. And then gradually one hand will come out as if to reach out to offer help and support, and then comes the other one to reach out to offer help and support. Then the hands are going to clasp with some strength, if your hands will allow this. And then we're going to lift them up as fully as our bodies will allow, a strong rise with those. And then a release. Let them gradually relax and ease and come in and sort of be a funnel of sorts and draw in to an embrace. So here's the whole set. We start with the sphere over our hearts. One hand will reach out, another will reach out. Our hands will clasp with strength and rise all the way up, and then very gradually ease and release and take in to an embrace. A body prayer to accompany our words this morning.
Here in this holy place, by Tony Vincent, the fourth Black woman ordained and fellowshipped in Unitarian Universalism in 1989. Here in this holy place, let us give ourselves to the spirit of the moment and find the sacred oneness which binds all life together. Knowing that much is beyond our ability to change, life calls us still to act in compassion and fairness wherever the opportunity presents itself. Let us seize the strength of the ritual, remember, renew, and relive the taste of hard-fought struggles in the human search for justice. We are hungry for the lessons of the past and for guidance toward the promise of the future. May we be open to all that expands our awareness and welcome all to enter our embrace. Here, in this holy place, let us give ourselves to the spirit of the moment and find the sacred oneness which binds all life together. Knowing that much is beyond our ability to change, life calls us still to act in compassion and fairness wherever the opportunity presents itself. Let us seize the strength of the ritual, remember, renew, and relive the taste of hard-fought struggles in the human search for justice. We are hungry for the lessons of the past and for guidance toward the promise of the future. May we be open to all that expands our awareness and welcome all to enter our embrace.
And now I invite us to sing Our Children on Their Way. Good morning. My name is Sophia McKean. I'll be your worship associate for today's service. This Sunday, we're looking towards a complicated day tomorrow that will be both inauguration and MLK Day. Some of you may already be familiar with this painting behind me. Barbara Hoyt, former member of this congregation who we lost in 2024, painted it on the day of Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. As she told the story, she was grief-stricken when she heard the news. She didn't know what else to do, and she started painting, feeling like it was moving through her, not even sure what the final product would look like until she was done. She would eventually gift this painting to our UUCM community. I don't think I need to tell you it's a powerful work of art. Our country and the white supremacy within it took MLK's life rather than let him continue to preach hope and resistance to Black, poor, and other disenfranchised people. MLK was well aware of the risks he was taking in doing so. He had attempts on his life before he was assassinated. But he did not let fear stop his call for justice. On the day of his death, Barbara captured him looking toward what I see as a future, an uncertain future, but one that's shining with some as yet indecipherable light. The painting itself is also a light, a reminder that there is always hope, even in times full of uncertainty, fear, and profound loss. It is a reminder of MLK's legacy, of the racial and economic justice he worked toward, and the way he never stopped fighting. Barbara's painting is a reminder that his vision of the future can outlive him, as long as we answer the call and do the work to keep it alive. If MLK could get up and speak in Memphis in April of '68, even fearing for his life, if Barbara could pick up her paintbrush and render some piece of his legacy so beautifully, even in her grief, what can we do now to keep that light ever burning? Come, let us worship together.
People often, including me, find the painting moving, right? Especially once we know the story. She went out to her garage and grabbed a piece of masonite because that's what was there and had to do something. Beautifully introduced, thank you. So do you continue to be inspired by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King? So I'm going to ask, in what way, to what end, more specifically, how? What is that inspiration for you? How is that manifesting? How is that realized in your life? Anybody? Perseverance, hope, never give up, philosophy of nonviolence, bravery, incredible love, courage to have a dream, speaking truth, encouraging unity, helping his people, knowing no boundaries, helping recognize the power of Black and white people uniting for economic justice.
And all men were
justice, and that all men and women actually were created equal.
I like to remember that he was a real person too. He was a human being, and he really got the bread and roses concept.
I like to remember that he was a very real human being too, and that he got the bread and roses concept, which is that we need sustenance, those basic things for life, but also more than that. Yeah. Kindness to others. And to oneself. The power of word. Nonviolent action. Strength of presence, one's own presence. Charisma, the power of charisma. A leader, both at the same time, leadership. Yeah. Authenticity. Be part of a community that promotes justice. Collaboration. Kept moving forward. Bigger than himself. And he was all of that with all of his flaws. And all within 39 years, I would add. 39, right? He was 39 when he was killed. Remembering to have compassion for yourself. A powerful legacy, right? What I'm hearing is not just an idea, right? But an idea that lives in you in a meaningful way. One of our very few national holidays that's based on an individual, right? And so it matters, I think, whether this means something or not, right? Whether his legacy means something. I'm inspired by his continual evolution in all those 39 years, right? Of his religious thinking, of his theology, of his political thinking. They kept that moving, always taking his new experience, including when he started to speak out against Vietnam and got flack for that, and people started to move away. When he insisted on nonviolence, when that started to be challenged in a significant way. So I'm inspired by that piece, that never-ending aspect of learning and growing. The Poor People's Campaign started to link, as other people have mentioned, a range of challenges in the United States. And that's also an important inspiration for me. He and the leaders of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference realized that they were making some gains in civil rights, but that people's practical well-being wasn't changing very much. And so wanted to weave in the whole economic justice piece. And as Daryl Grigsby put it, to develop a coalition of the excluded, right, to work together. In more recent times, it's Melanie DeMore, an amazing leader of singing and heart, who helped frame this in terms of the need to lift everybody up. A song we sang recently. I'm going to invite you to rise in body or in spirit and to sing. You won't need to see words for this one. We gotta hold everybody, we gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody, we gotta hold everybody up. Yep, so the first time it goes up and the second time it goes down. Melanie says that's because that's the way it is. We gotta hold everybody, we gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody, we gotta hold everybody up, hold everybody up, hold everybody up, hold everybody up, hold everybody up. Oh, pretty good, just a single up at the end. And Melanie explains that this idea of holding everybody up is not a kind of a light surfacey. This is where you got to anchor yourself and get ready to do some real lifting to hold everybody up. So I invite you to do the motions when we get to the 3 ups. Here we go. We got to hold everybody. We got to hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up. Just because you look like you and I look like me, it doesn't mean we can't be friends. You're not my enemy. No, we gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up. People all around the world sometimes feel so sad. But when others show they care, well, things don't seem so bad. Yeah, we gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up. Up, up. Hold everybody up. Up, up. Hold everybody up. Up, up. Hold everybody up. Thank you, Reverend Dr. King, for showing us what love can bring. Thank you, Madiba, for lifting up South Africa. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up. Ah, well done. So we are going to invite the Reverend Dr. King to speak for himself this morning, rather than interpret, but through our voices. So often when we do our opening session to introduce people to Unitarian Universalism, I invite people at the end of that to read this congregation's mission statement, even if they're there for the very first time, to try it on for size, to see what it feels like when it comes out of your mouth, right? What does it feel like to actually hold that? So I have a set of readings I'm going to pass out in a moment to a group of people who will be willing to read a quote. Some of them are just a single short sentence, some of them are a paragraph or two. So I'm going to pass those around. And at the same time, we're going to pass around some tissue paper, flames, that I invite you just have in hand throughout. We'll be using them in a ritual shortly afterwards. So for me, if you'd like to read one of the quotes, if you'd raise your hand, and otherwise if you'd take a flame as they come by. Those of you who have a reading, I invite you to come on up, and if coming up is difficult, we'll bring a mic to you. But those of you who have a reading, if you'd come on up and just make a big cluster up here. Heights, check our heights here. And thank you for your willingness. I neglected to name that part. I did. Yeah, this looks good. So flames are coming around. I invite you to let your shoulders relax a little bit. It may help you to unwind your body or notice if there's anything that is holding tension. Anything that might be helpful to release. Any part of the morning that you just assume let go of for the moment? I invite you to notice, first of all, that you are breathing. I hope. That you are breathing, and what that breathing feels like. No need to do anything with it. Just notice what your breathing feels like right now. I invite you to let your awareness expand, even as you continue to notice your breathing, that you are not alone, that there are people around you, whether you're up front here or in your seat or at home. The people around you at home might be a little farther away, but you are not alone. And I invite you to settle into this time and to let that tissue paper piece of flame for those in the room to kind of absorb both the words and your responses to them. So I invite you just to take in this litany of words and wisdom from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Let it speak to your heart in any way that it will, and listen also for your response to that.
Even when pressed by the demands of inner truth, men do not easily assume the task of opposing their government's policy, especially in time of war. Nor does the human spirit move without great difficulty against all the apathy of conformist thought within one's own bosom and in the surrounding world.
A true revolution of values will soon look uneasily on the glaring contrast of poverty and wealth.
True peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice.
We have waited for more than 340 years for our constitutional and God-given rights. The nations of Asia and Africa are moving with jet-like speed toward the goal of political independence, and we still creep at horse and buggy pace toward the gaining of a cup of coffee at a lunch counter. I guess it is easy for those who have never felt the stinging darts of segregation to say, wait.
Now let us begin. Now let us rededicate ourselves to the long and bitter but beautiful struggle for a new world. Shall we say the odds are too great? Shall we tell them the struggle is too hard? Or will there be another message of longing, of hope, of solidarity with their yearnings, of commitment to their cause, whatever the cost? The choice is ours, and though we might prefer it otherwise, we must choose in this crucial moment of human history.
I'm convinced that people hate each other because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other, and they don't know each other because they don't communicate with each other, and they don't communicate with each other because they are separated from each other.
The ultimate measure of a person is not where one stands in moments of convenience and comfort, but where one stands at times of challenge and controversy.
We are called to speak for the weak, for the voiceless, for the victims of our nation, for those it calls enemy. For no document from human hands can make these humans any less our brothers.
If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward.
I am convinced that if we are to get on the right side of the world revolution, we as a nation must undergo a radical revolution of values. We must rapidly begin the shift from thing-oriented society to a person-oriented society. When machines and computers, profit, motives, and property rights are considered more important than people, the giant triplets of racism, extreme materialism, and materialism are incapable of being conquered.
The time is always right to do what is right.
A true revolution of values will soon cause us to question the fairness and justice of many of our past and present policies. On the one hand, we are called to play the Good Samaritan on life's roadside, but that will be only an initial act. One day, we must come to see that the whole Jericho Road must be transformed so that men and women will not be constantly beaten and robbed as they make their journey on life's highway. True compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It comes to see that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring.
The question is not whether we will be extremist, but what kind of extremist we will be. Will we be extremists for hate, or will we be extremists for love? Will we be extremists for the preservation of injustice, or will we be extremists for the cause of justice?
Freedom is not won by passive acceptance of suffering. Freedom is won by a struggle against suffering.
Faith is taking the first step, even when you can't see the whole staircase.
Let no man pull you so low as to hate him.
In 1957, when a group of us formed the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, we chose as our motto, to save the soul of America. We were convinced that we could not limit our vision to certain rights for Black people, but instead affirmed the conviction that America would never be free or saved from itself until the descendants of its slaves were loosed completely from the shackles they still wear.
Here is the true meaning and value of compassion and nonviolence. When it helps us to see the enemy's point of view, to hear their questions, to know their assessments of ourselves. From their point of view, we may indeed see the basic weakness of our own condition. And if we are mature, we may learn and grow and profit from the wisdom of those who are called the opposition.
We are now faced with the fact, my friends, that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with a fierce urgency of now. In this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such a thing as being too late.
We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up.
So with your little representation of a chalice flame in hand, I'm going to invite us to get comfortable in our chairs and close our eyes if we so choose. Take a deep breath in and out. I invite you to ask yourself, where is your light? Maybe it's in something that Martin Luther King Jr. said, or in part of his legacy, the legacy of all those who have come before us and found a way to keep their lights burning. Maybe something from the song sparks it for you. Now is the time for shining on, for singing out loud, for letting fear go, for kindness, for holding on, for sharing, for dreaming, for speaking up, for taking a breath, for dancing, for open hearts. Maybe it's something else entirely. I invite you to settle on one intention, whether for deeper breath, a specific act of resistance, for deepening relationship, whatever it is that calls to you as a light in this moment. As you find your light, I invite you to picture it burning somewhere within you. Maybe it's in your mind and you can see its flickering flame even behind your closed eyelids. Maybe you feel it burning in your hands or your feet, urging action. Or maybe you feel it in your heart, traveling out from there to warm your whole body. If you're having trouble finding your light, I invite you just to picture it somewhere in your body and to be open to what specific action or belief or concept might come to you. As we settle into silence, I invite you to keep focused on your light, on where you can feel it, and to channel that light, that intention, into the tissue paper flame that you hold in your hands. As we look toward what the coming months and years will bring, it always helps me to remember that I do not have to keep my light burning alone. Each Sunday morning, we light our chalice as a symbol of our community. And this Sunday, we're going to make a second chalice with each of the flames we've just imbued with our light. For those of you online, I invite you, if you're so moved, to share what your light might be in the chat. For those of us in the room, as we're so moved, I invite you to come forward, and Reverend Kevin will help you add your flame to our larger flame here. And as we're doing so, I'll invite us all to both keep our intention in mind and to imagine what the other lights of those in the room may be. So I invite you to come forward now as you're so moved.
Your improvised flame. What do we do with the light? If we're going to let our light shine, our song sing, or our kindness warm, where and how do we do it? Yesterday, this congregation held a strategic planning workshop, which is one way of saying how, right? In what direction, and how do we get there? There's a notion of not asking what the world needs, because the world needs everything, but saying, where does our deep gladness, our deep gifts, our deep joy, our skills meet the world's deep needs? Where does our gladness meet the world's deep needs? Aaron and McKean, there's also a notion of do what makes you come alive, because what the world needs is people who come alive. But Aaron McKean challenges that and said, maybe the question or the invitation is to learn to come alive while we're serving the needs of the world. Another direction, perhaps, to come alive while we're serving the needs of the world. Both possibilities. Thanks for your willingness to read, to play, to add your piece of you to this community. May we continue to find inspiration, encouragement, challenge, and hope, not only in the words and the spirit of Dr. King, but also in the words and the spirit and the calls to action of all who carry forward the legacy that he had inherited and carried forward for a time. And that continues. So may we be.
This church has been a longtime light of mine. It is an always in progress building of community as we want it to be, where we are given the opportunity to offer and receive care, meaningful relationship building care. One of the many ways in which we might offer that care is through giving our weekly offering. 50% of our offering this month will support Sierra Roots, which is dedicated to listening to and collaborating with chronically homeless persons to help them define and meet their needs, envisioning a relationship-based community in which everyone has a chance to heal and a place to call home. Please see this slide for other ways to give. I invite the ushers to come forward and receive the offering. Thank you for your generosity. We dedicate our offering today to the dignity of, care for, and collaboration with all people, especially those who the structure of our society would leave out. All right, thank you to the many members and friends who read today, and also to Corey and to Jeff for offering the land acknowledgement and chalice lighting. Thank you so much to Mark and Toby for the music today. Thank you to Paul and Cypress for our AV team, and to Eileen for being the chat host. Thank you to Shanti for the beautiful setting, and again to Barbara Hoyt for the beautiful gift that is the painting behind me. Thank you to Gwen, Corey, and Carl for greeting. Thank you to Carol for being lay pastoral care, to Jenny and Corey for being Kids Connection today, and thank you to Michael, Susan, Lynn, and Carol for refreshments. And we have a few announcements. UUCM is a Good Trouble congregation, so we are invited to join the national celebration on Tuesday, January 21st at 5 p.m. here at this church. Mark your calendars for the Citizens Climate Lobby Monday, the Parkinson's Support Group Thursday, the Arts and Crafts Circle Friday, and the Spirituality Sharing Circle on Saturday. We will be having an MLK Day potluck hosted on Monday at 12 p.m. in this building. And the Starting Point series will begin on Tuesday, January 21st at 10 a.m. It's a journey to a deeper connection and understanding of Unitarian Universalism and this congregation. And we will be having a community business meeting on Sunday, January 26th after the service. As always, you can learn more about those events and other upcoming events at our website, uugrassvalley.org.
Our values as Unitarian Universalists are centered in love, we have declared. That love is really the central value, and all the others are expressions of it. A few more words from the Reverend Dr. King. When I speak of love, I'm not speaking of some sentimental and weak response. I'm not speaking of that force which is just emotional bosh. I am speaking of that force which all of the great religions have seen as the supreme unifying principle of life. Love is somehow the key that unlocks the door which leads to ultimate reality. Love is the greatest force in the universe. It is the heartbeat of the moral cosmos. The Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Buddhist belief about ultimate reality is beautifully summed up in the first epistle of St. John. Let us love one another, for love is God. And everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. This was the message of our Universalist ancestors. If we love one another, King continues, quoting, God dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us. Let us hope that this spirit will become the order of the day. In other words, let us hope that love will become the order of the day. So we use that word a lot, and then the challenge is to figure out, what does that mean? What does that ask of us? And yet we're going to answer that call in the ways that it keeps arising. We can't anticipate all of them. The calls are going to keep arising, and our goal will be to try to answer those calls when they arise. With that in mind, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and to sing.
Blessed and made whole, within our hearts is our God.
Again, Dr. King, now let us begin. Now let us rededicate ourselves to the long and bitter but beautiful struggle for a new world. Shall we say the odds are too great? Shall we tell them the struggle is too hard? Or will there be another message? A message of longing, of hope, of solidarity with their yearnings, of commitment to their cause, whatever the cost? The choice is ours, and though we might prefer it otherwise, we must choose in this crucial moment of human history. The time is always right to do what is right. May it be so in our hearts and minds. And let's remind ourselves that we're not in this alone, that we are very much in this together, with these good words to each other. Together, let us carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Please join us for refreshments and connection and conversation, and or join us next week for Heretics in Good Company.